Hello, and welcome to the Angry Healer's Guides to Highmaul. I am, as always, Inquisitor Aura, and today we'll be taking a look at Brackenspore on normal and heroic difficulties. The healing classes present in this video are a Restoration Druid, a Restoration Shaman, and a Discipline Priest, played by myself. This fight has a 10-minute hard enrage timer. Brackenspore's encounter is a single-phase fight, in which you will face the boss, several adds, and creeping moss. First, we'll take a look at the basics. The first thing you'll need to note is the creeping moss. Throughout this fight, the ground will slowly be covered by creeping moss, a green fungus that will eventually cover the ground if left unattended. Players who stand in the fungus take nature damage every second and have their movement speed reduced by 50%. However, if it touches the boss, or his adds, it will heal them for 2% of their maximum health every 2 seconds. Players can counteract this by having 2 of the DPS pick up the flamethrowers left behind by the retreating Blackrock forces. It will burn away the moss and provide those 2 DPS with a stacking buff called Burning Infusion, which increases critical strike chance, multi-strike, and haste. It stacks to 15, and a stack is lost every 3 seconds. Brackenspore himself only has 3 abilities, the first of which is Rot. Rot is a stacking tank damage over time effect that deals nature damage every second. This is the tank swap mechanic. His second ability is Necrotic Breath. This is a frontal cone breath attack that deals a high amount of nature damage every second for 5 seconds and reduces the healing received by affected targets, which should only be the tanks, by 99%. His final ability is Infesting Spores. This is an ability channeled over 10 seconds that deals massive raid-wide damage. Every second, it adds a stack of a 3-second dot. After 10 seconds, you have 10 stacks, and that's when it deals its highest damage. The next thing we need to know are that there are 3 adds the raid will have to deal with. The first is Mind Fungus, a stationary add that spawns at the location of a random raid member. It casts Mind Fungus, which reduces the casting speed of all raid members in its proximity by 75%. The second type of adds are Spore Shooters. These are stationary adds that spawn in random locations of the fighting area and target random raid members, firing spore shots at them. The spore shots deal high nature damage in an 8-yard radius on contact with any raid member and should be intercepted by someone with a defensive cooldown before it hits the raid. The third add is a Fungal Flesh Eater. These are mobile adds that can be tanked and killed normally and have 2 abilities. The first is called Flesh Eater. It is a stacking buff that increases the add's damage, attack speed, and casting speed by 10%. The second is Decay. Decay is an interruptible spell that deals significant raid-wide damage. They will try to cast this often, so an interrupt rotation is recommended. There are also beneficial adds to the raid. Mushrooms will spawn. They are beneficial, but will need to be healed to full to activate. They spawn in random locations at 50% health. However, once healed to full, they begin to take increased damage and it will become impossible to keep them alive. The first kind of mushroom is the Living Mushroom. This one is green, spawns more frequently, and casts living spores, healing all raid members within 20 yards for massive amounts of health every second. Living mushrooms are used to counter infesting spores. The second kind of mushroom is a Rejuvenating Mushroom. These ones are blue, spawn less often than the living mushrooms, and grant all nearby raid members 30% haste and significant mana regen. Healers, here's what you need to know about Brackenspore. The green mushrooms should only be popped when infesting spores goes off. Until then, you should have a healer get to it, heal it up to about 90% health, and then try to keep it there as long as they can so that it is ready to be popped when you need it. The Rejuvenating Mushrooms should take priority. However, if there are infesting spores pop up and you're under a blue mushroom and can't heal a green mushroom to full and get there in time, You will need to pop a healing cooldown and heal that blue mushroom as much as you possibly can. You can go ahead and use your big heals on this, like Flash Heal and all of your expensive fast cast heals, because your mana regen while standing underneath the blue mushroom is going to be significant enough that you will not have mana problems. And finally, Necrotic Breath is a tank killer. My raid has a Discipline Priest dedicated to keeping the tanks alive through this. Absorbs are great during Necrotic Breath, but if you don't have an Absorb specialist, you will have to ensure Brackenspore's tank is topped off before he hits them with the breath. Well, that's it for Brackenspore. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this guide useful. Please feel free to comment below and don't forget to subscribe. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and the Angry Healers blog. All the links are listed below in the description. Also, if you like what you see and would like to see more and better content, check out my Patreon page. As always, keep cool and stay angry, healers.